Good morning, everyone. It's not often I get a musical intro to when I speak, so that was nice. Welcome to beautiful Rio de Janeiro. It's great to have you with us. I think that deserves a whoop, right? Woo! On behalf of Climate Group and the Under 2 Coalition, I'd like to thank Bloomberg Philanthropy and the COP30 presidency for hosting us as part of the Local Leaders Forum for the first ever inaugural Global States and Regions Summit, the first time that there's been a dedicated platform for showcasing the leadership of states and regions globally as part of a COP. So that is a celebration in itself. It's amazing to see so many representatives of state and regional governments in the room. Today, we're joined by over 70 governments represented here from all regions of the world. Over the course of this week, more than 13,000 cities, states, and regions, including the Under 2 Coalition, are sending a united message. Subnational governments are not just implementers of national climate plans, they're the drivers of global ambition. So I really hope we can use today to celebrate what we've achieved, but we also need to send a message to the governments who are going to be meeting in Belém next week, that we are willing, ready, and committed to help deliver an ambitious, just, and prosperous climate action agenda. I'd now like to welcome to the stage a true climate leader, a longtime friend of the coalition, who during his term in office was a true champion of local climate leadership in his state and beyond. I'm delighted that he continues to bang the drum for the role of states and regions. Please give a warm welcome to Jay Inslee, former governor of Washington State.
Good morning, bom dia. This is a delight to join you in such a beautiful place. Thanks to Mike Bloomberg and everybody here. I just want to start by greeting you as a member of the Inslee family. My name is Jay Inslee, and you are now members of the Inslee family because everybody in this room is helping my 6 grandchildren have a future, and I want to thank you personally. Those 6 grandchildren are officially the cutest grandchildren in America. So you are helping them in everything you do in your states and cities, and I want to thank you. I want to start by a description of the moment I think that we are in. This has been a long climb in the last 30 years. Sometimes when we've been on this climb, it has been a little bit daunting. Our progress may have been a little frustrated in this regard. And it reminded me of when I climbed Mount Rainier, which I hope you will come visit someday. It's about a 5,000 meter mountain, glaciated, beautiful mountain in the state of Washington. And when I was climbing that mountain, there's a long snow ramp that goes up to the halfway point called Camp Muir. And for 5 hours, that camp never seemed to get closer. It seemed to always be on the horizon. But eventually, we got there. And I believe that's the moment we are in, and we have to realize the progress that we have made together. And I want to point out why we have made progress over the last 30 years. It is because a group of people around this planet who are local leaders of states and counties and cities who've decided to make a difference. And those people are not called subnationals. Those people are my friends in this room who are properly called supranationals. Everybody in this room is a supranational. And the reason I say that is because you are moving the ball. You are not making idle promises. You are not describing ephemeral visions or dreams. You are taking action this day. Because we are no longer in the age of vague promises. We are in the age of implementation. We are in the age of deployment. We are in the age of immediate actions in our neighborhoods, in our states, and our cities. And you are taking that action across the United States. And I come here as a person who's been fighting this battle for 30 years, who is inspired by the action you're taking around the world, in so many diverse places, in Baden-Württemberg, in Sierra, in California, in Quebec, in multiple continents, people are acting big time. Let me, if I moment, just share a story about my state in Washington State. I was governor for 12 years. During those 12 years, we made a decision to reduce our emissions. And during those 12 years, we joined 24 other states in the United States in something called the U.S. Climate Alliance to continue to move the ball to take action. That group has reduced its emissions by 24% because of the local action we decided to take in our own jurisdictions. And here's the one thing that if you take home anything from the comments that I'm making today, you need to know this. Donald Trump cannot stop the states and cities of the United States from moving forward to defeat climate change. That's my central premise. And if you think that's an idle statement, take a look at what happened in my state. We're now driving electric cars, we're putting up solar panels, we're getting heat pumps for our people because of the thing we call the Cap and Invest Bill, our Climate Commitment Act. And congratulations to Brazil to now start an implementation of their carbon marketing plan. This plan was challenged by the fossil fuel polluting industries in my state at the ballot box. And some people argue that this is too dangerous politically to move forward. They brought an initiative to try to repeal our climate laws. I'm pleased to report to you that the fossil fuel industry was defeated 62 to 38 last November to maintain the progress that we are making against climate in the state of Washington. And that is happening across the United States. In New Mexico, where the great Luan Grisham is going to address you about her progress, about the wind turbines that are going across the Dakotas, of the solar cell deployment that's going on in Nevada and many other places. We have the capability of being in control of our own destiny, and we are taking it. And I want to thank you for everything you've done now to move to the age of implementation. Now I get to introduce a great leader on this and great friend, who is the CEO of the European Climate Foundation, who is the European COP representative, a person who actually ran the Paris talks. And we had success because she made the Paris talks so convivial and congenial and comfortable for the delegates that they were able to fashion the Paris Agreement. The secret of the Paris Agreement was soft lighting and good croissants. And her leadership allowed us to have both. Give it up for Laurence Tubiana, who's been such a great leader of this movement. Congratulations. Good luck to all of us. Laurence.
Thank you, Jay. I must confess that I have stolen something from Jay without asking the permission, and his IP. Supranational. I use it all the time now. Yes, you are supranationals. And I think I remember my first speech with Under Two Coalition. I remember Jerry Brown. We were, by the way, first I met Jerry in Rome at the Vatican, where that was a preparation of Laudato Si. And from them, I was fascinated by the fact that region and governors and could do so much, and in particular, of course, what he has done. So I'm very happy 10 years after that conversation to be here with you. And you know, all of you, and in particular, Under Two Coalition and all the people who was there, Region 4, GCS Task Force, the EU Committee on Regions, US Alliance, etc., you have been so inspiring for me to craft Paris Agreement. I can tell that because of the conversation I had with you, I had the absolutely necessity to recognize the role of cities and regions, because I knew that that was the safety net of any agreement between governments. So you were at the origin of this particular shape of this agreement, which recognized for the first time that not only government can take action and can sign treaties, but there are actors that are crucial to deliver the promises. Thank you for Bloomberg Philanthropy and the COP30 presidency. Of course, I'm very excited to be with this.
Imagine criar um aplicativo com a sua assinatura, só com o poder da imaginação. Conheça a Base 44.
Innovation. And really, I know how much time, coordination, and efforts to do that immense success that this gathering is there. I think this COP, of course, marks this anniversary of Paris Agreement. And we know now that the rule book being achieved, we need to now really accelerate the implementation. Not only implement, but accelerate the implementation. A lot of things have changed in Paris, and you know all of this. But multilateralism is under pressure, and that's so good that so many US governors and mayors are here to say we will not follow the president in his views that science doesn't count, climate change doesn't exist, etc. But I think we can demonstrate that multilateralism is not only government problem, it's every citizen problem and every one of you. But that's true, we have to recognize that the backsliding, the risk of the backsliding is real. And you know, the philosophy of Paris is not to deliver everything in once, is a process, is a route, is a travel, but we have not to go backwards, we have to go always forward. And that's the risk we are facing today. We need to be clean. Rolling back climate policy will only weaken economy and security. And it can happen. It is happening in some places as well. True competitiveness lies in clean innovation, resilience, and investment certainty. So I think this is really important that your message to the government, to the citizen, to the economic actors, going backwards is losing. It's a lose bet. I think as governors, premier, and president, you can hold the line when national politics are not delivering. And you have demonstrated that previously all the time, keeping progress visible and trust intact. This, in my view, includes a very, very important diplomatic role. Sometimes it was new. 10 years ago, it was probably new for you. Now it's no more the case. You are doing it. Because we have new space for state-level diplomacy as international cooperation grows more complex. Initiatives like we are still in showed how subnational diplomacy can sustain global momentum. And I remember when President Trump decided to go to just withdraw from Paris Agreement, the delegation of we are still in Bonn was the biggest one from the US point of view. So it was glory. It was really the reaffirmation of what is important. And the case of US engaging directly with the EU on climate and clean energy, what in innovation as well, and specifically on initiative like carbon pricing. I think you have a central role because you are the guarantors of the democracy in your places. We see, of course, the disinformation, the false narrative, and the climate disinformation, as you know, is rising. Almost at world level, and at least I have the numbers for Europe, 10% on all fake news are around climate change. The hoax and attacking clean energy solution, for example. At the same time, public opinion still strongly support climate action. Really, a recent poll, a global poll from UNEP, says that 80% of the global population still support ambitious action on climate. In 2024, it is about 125 countries. So it's not the citizen that doesn't want climate action. It's a pressure of incumbents and vested interests that are trying to impress governments to backtrack. So my hope is that you can do a lot involving citizens, opening the public discussion so the citizen voice can support you in your action vis-à-vis governments that can want to backtrack. So the citizen voice, the agency of the citizen, is the best safety net we can create forever. So if you can help make these local realities, the voice of citizens visible, that would give another tone at the conversation where so often we hear that climate policy are against people and from a woke elite that doesn't know what the people's needs are. So it's a very, very important battle, and I hope we'll be all together in that. Then we have to accelerate implementation on mitigation, for example. When national government can be slow to act, state and region can accelerate implementation on the ground. You have done so much on transport, for example. On housing, I heard yesterday fantastic news on how some cities were intervening on social housing, for example, on energy system, etc. And unfortunately, more and more on adaptation and resilience because of the drama that are happening every day. Just think about recently Valencia, but in so many countries, this is happening. And then you are the first line, the front line, that can do and accommodate and try to save lives and assets. So just transition efforts are grounded in local realities, and I think it's really important that you are recognizing that role, you have access to funding for that role, you have access to data from that role, to be there to defend the citizen against this climate risk. At national level, it's encouraging that 80% of submitted national climate plans now include cities and region. It was a dream for me 10 years ago. It is happening. That now government doesn't ignore you, and then that hopefully can push them upwards for their commitment. But then you have to take them accountable of what they commit in this forum. And I think the NDC synthesis report shows that you are key partners for implementation. Then COP in Belém, critical opportunity. I think I have said that so many times, arguing that you have to be from recognition, that was Paris moment, to institutionalization. That's the moment for today. You need to be at the table. You need to be recognized as equal in the implementation of the Paris commitment. So don't be shy to ask for this particular moment. It is ripe. We need you. Everybody needs you because, again, from the uncertainty of many governments around the table. So there are 3 pathways, in my view, to explore. Maybe having an annual implementation forum to coordinate delivery and track progress. We could have, of course, a formal work program on multilateral and urban climate action to institutionalize subnational engagement. But be aware, sometimes it's easy within the UNFCCC process to block things because there are government, of course, still there, doesn't want to go forward. So I do think that you need a place where your voice is equal to many other voices. And then we have to have localized climate finance to ensure at least 30% of global climate finance reach directly local and regional government by 2030. I want to thank Under 2 Coalition to have joined something which is dear to my heart, to create new resources for climate finance, and in particular for adaptation, resilience, and loss and damage in many countries. This is the initiative on Global Solidarity Levies Task Force, which I think we will launch in COP30. Great to see Under 2 joining the task force as a formal partner. The idea is to apply the polluter pay principle to the sectors that pollute and don't contribute to the solution. And of course, this example will be for the moment at COP30, premium flyers contributing to the solar and private jet that we are calling countries. Already 20 countries are ready to sign and to do something for that. So why I am talking about that and why I am so grateful that Under 2 is now joining officially as a partner of this task force, because the use of revenues will depend a lot on you. Again, we need to protect citizens for climate impacts, and that needs money. And that's not always insurance that can cover the cost. You know that. Insurance sector are struggling to cover this massive cost. So we need additional public money. We know that the fiscal space is reduced. So we need, in honest terms, that the polluter sectors contribute. While they made a lot of benefits, they are not helping for the solution. So again, I hope this year at COP30, it will be a decisive moment for region, for cities to be at the table and create and advance the reform of a system that doesn't recognize enough the role you are playing, not only as a safety net, but the frontline actors that can bring the community, the global community forward much more rapidly. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Laurence. Thank you, Governor Inslee. Morning, everyone. I'm Helen Clarkson, Chief Exec of Climate Group. Before we get into welcoming the panel, a bit of housekeeping. A reminder, you've got translation, Portuguese on 5, Spanish on 6, English on 1, and apologies for those wanting French. We are trying to get it working. That's the message. I'm just the messenger. Apologies. Around the world, as we've been hearing, governors, premiers, first ministers are using their powers to drive transformative action and delivering at scale and turning global commitments into tangible results. States and regions really showcasing their ambition. So I'm delighted to welcome this morning two governors who are doing just that, and we can get into the conversation about their approach to climate leadership and what it means for the communities they lead. So let's start with the same question to both of you. What's one rapid action or bold shift that you've made in the last year that signals this new era of implementation? Governor Lujan Grisham, Governor of New Mexico, USA, why don't you kick us off?
I'm making sure my microphone is on. Thank you, Helen. Welcome, everyone. I'm delighted to be here. I was particularly interested in how we're all working together to implement a variety of strategies that are a race to the top to make sure that we're tackling the climate crisis. New Mexico is an energy state, which also includes it's a major producer of oil and gas for the United States. So it means our responsibility to move faster and to hold polluters in the oil and gas industry accountable. We have a higher burden, and we should rise to that occasion. This last legislative session, we appropriated $435 million towards land conservation, grid modernization, community solar, and additional dollars because the federal government, as we are aware, has removed financing for renewable energy investments, including solar, wind, battery storage. We want to have the right tax credits and incentives to create a business environment in the state that is largely about reducing emissions and moving the economy towards renewable energy. Last thing, we are also investing heavily in centers of excellence for training workers for renewable energy jobs, and including now geothermal. It's looking for opportunities. Oil and gas in shale, which is New Mexico's geology, is about fracking. Fracking in and of itself has become an issue people are very nervous about. It's got, like everything, a downside. Here are the upsides. It helps us do carbon-free dry geothermal. So we have a fracking and mining industry, and for arid states, and we're in the aridification of our state because of climate change, it allows us to get access to an ocean of brackish water beneath our feet, which means that we can continue to invest in renewable energy resources in a variety of ways. So we're financing that and creating incentives in the state.
Thank you. And now I'd like to welcome Governor Manuel Gambini Rupe, Governor of Ucayali, Peru. And that same question to you, please, Governor.
Sí, hola. Sí, muchas gracias, muy buenos días. Como no, resaltar la participación del ex gobernador de Washington y nuestra colega gobernadora de Nuevo México. Y sé que están muchos gobernadores de los Estados Unidos y de los diferentes países. Bueno, en el Perú, nosotros, los gobiernos subnacionales, solo de la Amazonía peruana, nos hemos organizado en una mancomunidad para poder también igual hacer un trabajo conjunto por una Amazonía total del Perú. En ese marco hemos desarrollado una serie de estrategias, principalmente en lo que es la zonificación forestal, para poder organizarnos y la definición del territorio que de alguna manera administramos. Y dentro de ello
been managing the system we have been interacting with key stakeholders, the indigenous communities. We have been focusing on legal security because indigenous communities, the original people, they have been living in these natural regions for centuries now, but without a legal framework, they will be invaded, their land will be taken, and we have now been working to provide them with safe mechanisms and legal protection. We have been looking at the economic activities that are environmentally friendly in the region, that we can foster, but we lack resources, we lack funds. Over the past year, we held annual meetings in Peru, in Ucayali, and ever since we have been also calling the representatives from cooperatives to collaborate with us and reduce deforestation in the Peruvian Amazon. And these are the natural resources we have to tend for. We have over 70 million standing forests, and we don't have park rangers, enough park rangers. We need to act to protect the trees, to protect the forest. There are many activities that are harmful for the Peruvian Amazon, and we have therefore called other stakeholders to assist us in this process to protect the region, the populations, the riparian communities, where you have an entry point for the natural areas that are still standing in Peru.
We are also participating in these last few years at the COP. Now we have the COP 30. So for 30 years, we've been participating in the COP. But the 40 years in the Amazon in my country, the deforestation is happening. So we know the climate change doesn't have any border lines. So we have to protect it. It is important to look at the Peruvian Amazon so that you can help us out, and therefore we can really stop deforestation and start working on the restoration in reforestation of the damaged areas. And we can start working on the care, really, of the space where we have standing forests, and therefore we can also, I mean, that's what we want to do, and we're waiting for the resources and for the support of many countries who are waiting with us and also fighting against the climate change. And us from the Peruvian Amazon, we want to join to this task force on how to preserve our planet Earth. Thank you very much.
Governor Lujan Grisham, where are you taking risks? And then how are you helping your citizens understand why taking risks is necessary?
Well, I'm actually going to reframe the question and thank the governor. I think part of the effort we're making in New Mexico is that we are eliminating, oh, I forgot. See, that's why they wanted to mic me and I said no thanks. I wanted to reframe the question while I was thanking the governor for his leadership in the restoration efforts he's making. We're reducing risk. And so I think that we have long made mistakes where we talk about shifting our investments, and that is potentially, particularly for energy states, risk-based. So when I became governor in 2019, well more than half the state's budget was oil and gas. Now it's about 42%, and it's declining because we're investing in other businesses with higher wages, higher incomes, a brand new workforce, methane detection and innovation workforces. And when we close coal-fired plants, we make sure that we invest millions, tens of millions of dollars in not just retraining individuals, but making sure that we create, frankly, bank accounts for those individuals as they're making a workforce transition. You have to do both at the same time. If you eliminate those risks, you improve outcomes in communities, you create a climate, pardon the pun, for businesses to work cohesively together, then you don't have to make the case about that risk.
Yeah.
I also wanted to lean in a little bit on the restoration. As we reduce our greenhouse gas emissions and our carbon footprints in all of our states, creating statutory frameworks for net zero, and incentivizing businesses. You want a better tax investment, you want more job training, you want more free employee training, then that means that your carbon footprint has to be zero or net negative in these states. Again, you're mitigating risk for them. But we have a separate fund from the $435 million. We appropriated $350 million for a fund called the Land of Enchantment Fund. It's now grown to $400 million and moving forward. It does watershed restoration, climate and soil improvements, because if you're doing that at the same time, you are growing economies of scale that reduce your carbon footprints in total. So I think that that's a better way to frame how you have a race to the top to incentivize better efforts and renewable energy.
Great, thank you. Governor Gambini-Ruppe, what's one barrier that governors need to break down to turn this momentum into measurable progress by 2030?
Yes, effectively, the barrier is that in our country we are unified, or a unit government. The little resources the national government gives to the subnational authorities is not enough, because we have many needs. Therefore, when we organized the annual meeting, we made a call to create a team with the cooperation with the different workers so that we could work with the subnational governments. If they come to the NGOs, it is true, because these people, they just go to some areas. And now, from the subnational governments, we want to organize ourselves better so that we can really manage better our Amazon region, to protect it better. And if we are going to work with these activities of the restorative agriculture, which in these last years, it is already showing some good results. We are already exporting coffee and cacao and other products from the Amazon region. They are plantations that, if they are, for example, they have these trees with a better management of the agriculture friendly with the environment. That's what we are trying to do. So which are the difficulties we face? Well, it's the lack of resources, basically. That's what we face as the main barrier. The lack of resources we need in order to conduct these activities and to protect our standing forest. And for these degraded areas, how can we restore it with agroforestry plantation, which will be able to generate economy for the population around this area, so that they don't have the pressure to preserve these standing forests. I believe if we all look at the Peruvian Amazon, we can work this very well, and we can keep on preserving the existing forests.
Thank you. We've got very few seconds left, so just a quick parting rallying thought for your colleagues here, if I may. Would you like to start?
Well, I remembered my microphone, so that's a good place to start. I think that a really important takeaway for New Mexico, we've reduced emissions by half, given that Texas is the #1 oil and gas producer. They have not reduced their methane emissions, and it used to be the United States standard. This president removed that standard, but New Mexico's moving that, to this governor's point, across the region. The takeaway is we are creating much higher paying jobs in high-tech, clean energy jobs across the state, and it has done two things. One, We have the highest wage growth in America in New Mexico. We're number one for intelligent manufacturing growth. And we went from 50th in childhood poverty to I think we're 23rd, frankly, and moving in the right direction. And now we, with this economy, we have universal childcare, universal free pre-K, and universal free part-time, full-time, 2-year, 4-year college.
Great.
This is the movement that people will stay in if you give them these opportunities.
Thank you. Governor, last takeaway.
Sí, bueno, efectivamente, el cambio climático.
Yes, indeed. Climate change doesn't have any border. We can see the hurricanes, for example, the increase of the temperature globally. So, from the strategy of many different entities working in order to preserve the earth, this is important, and to make this visible. So I always will make this call that in Peru we still have a good quantity of forests, about 60 million, and we have good carbon sinks, but we have to manage them, and this management is important. We do it together. I would like to invite you to come to Peru. It is a country which is just improving its national economy at the moment. So we still have a lot of things that we need. In the international cooperation, we know there are lots of resources. We would like to ask you to distribute these resources globally with equity for everyone. That's what I wanted to leave you with. Thank you.
Thank you very much, and thanks for the invitation. Well, please thank me. This has been a great discussion, and one of the things I really took away from this is that understanding of, first of all, a lot of things in common, but also how much is determined by your specific landscapes and also the populations you're working with. So I think it's a great thing with Under 2 is what do you have in common and where can you learn from one another, and then also how you take that back to your localities. So please join me in thanking our governors. And with that, I'm going to hand over to Champa. Yes.
Thanks, Helen. And now we move on to our fireside chat, which has no fireside, but we're going to make it work. It was really interesting to hear what governors have been doing in order to kind of unlock the action that's needed. But we're now joined by two of our colleagues to think through what are the critical enablers, the policy shifts that can happen that can really unlock action at scale. So we're joined by Selwyn Hart, Special Advisor to the United Nations Secretary General and Assistant Secretary General of the Climate Action Team, and Kata Tuto, President of the European Committee of the Regions. So as we know, and has been talked about already today, plans are everywhere, but progress is still not happening. What's the shift that you think that's needed to turn ambition into execution? And maybe, Selwyn, if we start with you, what are the specific UN mechanisms that you think that we could utilize to really showcase and profile the leadership of what states and regions are doing, but also to help them in accelerating their action?
Champa, thank you so much, and it's a pleasure to be here with you. And as I've said repeatedly over the course of the last few days, I am really inspired by the energy in every room, in every meeting that I've been in. It is absolutely clear that despite the geopolitical tensions and divisions, despite this perception of backsliding, so much is happening. A lot of it under the radar in cities, regions, and states. And I really, really want to really thank and congratulate all of you for all that you are doing. And as I leave in the next few hours to Belém, you can be assured that I will take the spirit of Rio to Belém, because we're really at a vital and pivotal moment in the fight against the climate crisis. This is the 10th anniversary of the Paris Agreement, and I heard Laurence's excellent speech and intervention earlier. And it's also the year when countries are expected to put their new national climate plans on the table. So amidst these geopolitical divisions and tensions, the uncertainty over political and economic policy making, countries representing over 80% of global emissions have put their new NDCs or national climate plans on the table. And we hope, and I was just telling my colleague and friend that I hope the EU gets its act together in the next few hours. And what these plans show, the quality of these plans has increased significantly over the course of the last 10 years. Many countries, including China, Indonesia, Malaysia, and Nigeria, have moved from sectoral targets or business as usual, ambiguous business as usual targets to economy-wide absolute emission reduction goals for the first time. For the very first time, we're seeing a large number of major economies really step up and increase the quality and improve the quality of their new targets. Our own internal analysis within the UN suggests that 80% of these new plans have a reference to the just transition. 80% have adaptation components. Over 82% of them have a finance component, with many of them costed. Now, the reality is, the collective ambition does not take us to our climate goals. But we know, and we've seen it in the last rounds of NDCs, that countries can and will over-deliver. And this brings me to answer your question. If the right conditions and incentives are in place, both at the national level and at the local and subnational level. So one of my first messages to you, do not be distracted or dismayed. Climate action is still taking place. It continues to accelerate. So we need you more than ever. And this is why the United Nations, and I said this yesterday, we are fully supportive of formal recognition within the UN process for cities, regions, and states. We need your voices not only around the table. As someone reminded me yesterday, we need to remake this table. We need to remake this table to ensure that you can be not only part of the conversation, but that your action can be supportive of our global efforts.
Thank you. And Selwyn, correct me if I'm wrong. Oh, I think that deserves a round of applause. I think you're amongst friends who would say it's not the table that we want a seat around, but a whole new table indeed. But correct me if I'm wrong, because I think the synthesis report also showed that this round of NDCs has seen more references to regions, states, and cities than has ever been the case before. So I think the vital role of states and regions is increasingly being recognized. But Kata, if we turn to you now, and Selwyn laid down that challenge to the EU, which is a big challenge. It's a complex legal, political entity. But I know the work that you do is to knit a lot of that together. So what do you see as critical to enabling that multi-level governance between the cities, the provinces, the states within the European region?
Yes, thank you very much. Just to understand who I am, the European Committee of the Regions, we are a European body which represents the voice of cities and regions from all across Europe. So we have the small towns, we have the metropolitan areas, we have regions, we have the islands, mountain areas, rural, post-industrial, everything all around, all the different local realities from EU member states. What we do, we digest European legislation. There's a lot of legislation going on, and we try to make it more digestible, so we can implement it in the end. Okay, how does it look like in the European level? And I think the EU is keeping its act together. Okay. We have this common goal. We set it to become climate neutral by 2050. This is a must. The question is how we get there. Member states have to have their commitments. You all know about it. Okay, how do we help this process on the European level, national level, local level? And I think this is a very important part, because of course there's the compulsory top-down one. You have to get there, find the road. But we have these movements of mayors. We have the Covenant of Mayors, which is a movement. We have more than 9,000 mayors who voluntarily signed up to not just reach the climate targets, but to exceed it. And we're not just talking about the CO2 reduction. It's about mitigation, it's about adaptation, it's about biodiversity, and it's also about affordability. The voluntary part is very important because it's clear that we need this ambition, and we know that if we have ambitious mayors, they can bridge part of the gap. We also have the missions. It's called the climate neutral and smart city missions, cities that voluntarily try to make the mission impossible to become climate neutral by 2030. And actually, there are cities who can do that. It's all about the thinking framework. It's about ambition. Of course, it's about investment. So what the EU does, that we have this long-term investment policies that we do together. Cohesion policy, agricultural policy, the recovery and resiliency facility is investment policy. It's about investing in all, but everything has a climate mainstreaming role. So when it comes to cohesion policy, it is partly about the climate mainstreaming, mitigation, adaptation, biodiversity, and also when it comes to agricultural policy, it has a very strong climate leg, and it's a long-term stabilizing tool.
Thank you, Kata. I just want to turn to now, because next week many of our governments will be traveling to Belém. And Selwyn, to turn to you, you know, that commitment, that clarity that you gave to that call, that you recognize the role of this level of government. Just to get you, what are the big blockers from your point of view? Where does pressure from this level of government help? How can we push to make sure the change that's needed actually happens? It would be useful to understand from your perspective where it is that we can most have an impact.
Thanks. And this brings me to my second and third acts. Second is we need you to continue to raise your voices, really and to leverage your enormous domestic influence. We need you to continue to fight mis and disinformation, which is the biggest barrier or one of the biggest barriers to climate action, not only within your own jurisdiction, but also globally. So continue to leverage your, use your voices, raise your voices. I see the Governor Inslee, our very good friend, and many of the other, continue to raise your voices and connect climate action to the reality of people. It's about clean air. It's about building resilient infrastructure. It's about saving lives. It's protecting livelihoods and delivering economic growth. And the next axis is build bridges, right? Amidst all of the geopolitical divisions, I encourage you to reach across the developing country aisle, reach across the rich and poor country divide, you know, reach across regions. You guys are doers. You don't get mixed up in all of the you know, some of you, the geopolitical divisions and contestations. I really encourage you to build bridges. The reality is that we see since Paris, the energy transition has accelerated at an unbelievable pace. A decade ago, it took 1 week to build or deploy 1 gigawatt of solar. This year, by 12 noon, 1 gigawatt of solar will be deployed. In 2 hours, we will have 1 gigawatt of solar deployed. So a decade ago, we were talking or speaking of deployment of solar in terms of weeks. Now we're speaking of it in terms of hours. But the reality is that since Paris, 4 out of every $5 invested in clean energy has gone to the advanced economies and China. Right? So we need to ensure, as we speed up the transition, we need to show that this transition is fair. And nowhere is this injustice in the transition more apparent than in Africa. A continent with 60% of the world's solar potential, 30% of the critical energy transition minerals that are being used all around the world to power the energy transition. Yet, 600 million persons on the African continent are without electricity, and Africa attracted just 2% of clean energy investments last year. So we need you. I know your jobs are not always international, but reach across the aisle to developing countries and emerging economies, really to share some of your lessons. Show them, work with them really and really support ambition. Because yes, we need to speed up the transition, but we cannot repeat the mistakes of the fossil fuel era where a few benefited and many paid the price. So my encouragement to you is continue to raise your voices, and secondly, build those bridges.
Thank you, Selwyn. We're coming to the close of our time for this part of the session. But Kat, I do want to turn to you because so much of what you do is about building bridges. So if there's a call to action or a message that you have for our governments today as we head into Belém, what would you share?
Sure. I'll continue with the fault line you set here, okay? So yeah, you have to build these bridges horizontally and vertically. It's not just about how we share power, the different levels of government, but you never forget the responsibility and authority comes from the person, from the citizen. So there's nothing, in Europe, nothing's happening without the citizen. If we lose them, if they're not part of this, then there will be a big step on the brake. So our role, partly our role as local leaders, is to have our citizens on board, to have their trust on board. Because when you talk about fighting disinformation, misinformation, it's not about putting out facts and data. We already know it doesn't work. You need people you actually trust to make a difference. So you need a vertical connection. Everybody needs to work together on the state level, and also you have to have the citizens. This is why participation is very important. Democracy is changing. It's very important to set the direction. Do you want more people or less people on board? I'm in the more people on board making decisions. Horizontally, yes, we invest a lot in this. Connecting cities and regions, connecting regions from different countries, connecting regions from outside the EU and inside the EU. And also we have these coalitions like the Under 2, like the Regions 4, like ICLEI. These are very important. I always say that what we do in the Committee of the Regions, we're sort of a support group for politicians, local politicians. We see each other's survival stories. We see the failures too, but the survival stories. What is a survival stories when it comes to climate action? Because the concept of green is very nice, but the realities are super tough. So when you change your city, your transport, your heating system, the greening, and you get re-elected, and people don't want to go back, then it's a success story. And we need these stories. We need those mayors who do the impossible mission, because it encourages others to have similar ambitions and find the way that works for their community, their speed, their culture. Thank you.
Thank you. Unfortunately, we're at the end of our time, but my thanks to Selwyn and Katja for sharing just not only what those critical enablers are, but how we can proceed into Belém with a sense of confidence about how the role of this level of government is recognized. There's a lot to fight for, there's many bridges to build, but certainly we're making progress. I'm delighted now to hand over to Antha Williams from the Environment Program at Bloomberg Philanthropies for our closing session.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Antha Williams, and I lead the environment programs at Bloomberg Philanthropies, and it is wonderful to be here and surrounded by so many state and regional leaders and friends, and especially to have this gathering as the first global convening of states and regions that's a formal part of the COP30 process. It's really incredible to have reached this point. Across the world, of course, we're seeing supranational leaders driving real transitions, moving from plans to real action and progress. And later today, a new report led by Under 2 Coalition will be launched, the Global Subnational Solutions Bank. Drawing on nearly 100 examples worldwide, this report will illustrate how subnational governments are delivering change across energy, finance, adaptation, resilience, and nature-based solutions. And so for this panel, I'm really pleased to welcome 3 subnational leaders who are doing just that. We have Chairman Tunkara from the Gambia's North Bank region. Thank you for being here and joining us. We have Governor Almano de Freitas from Ceará in Brazil. Thank you so much for joining us. And we have President Al Ansari of the Fez-Menes region in Morocco. Thank you so much for being here and joining us. If I could get a quick round of applause for our speakers. I'd like to thank you all for being here and making the time. And I want to start with a big question, which is what specific sectoral solutions are really working in your region, and how do you know that they're working? So, Chairman, I'd like to start with you.
Thank you very much, Anta. I am Papa Tunkara, the chairman of Kerewan Area Council in the Gambia, in the North Bank region. I was elected to lead the region. As in our area in the Gambia, we have the governors who are appointed by the president. For us, we are also elected by the electorates. So I am very much impressed to be here today. The question is very important. We have been working tirelessly for the success of in our people in the Gambia, particularly about waste management. The solutions and the challenges that we have been encountered in waste management are definitely too much. If you can understand, in our capacity in the council, we have financial constraints. We don't have capacity to manage waste. We can only collect waste, but we cannot manage waste. But we are doing all things possible so that we can able to tackle all those issues. For example, we have even went into pre-finance with the banks so that they can also give us trucks, waste management trucks, so that they can also mitigate the waste in North Bank region. So it's a challenge, and the Gambia, where I am, we have 2 big cities called Bara and Farafenye. They are 2 big cities. So we have a lot of waste management in North Bank region that we need to tackle, and we are working on it so that we can ease the things to go easy. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Chairman. Governor de Freitas, I'd like to turn to you with the same question. What are the solutions, and how do you know they're working?
Bom, primeiro eu quero muito agradecer o convite de estar aqui.
Thank the invitation to be here. I think it's very important that we can exchange experiences and talk about our realities, and I am convicted that what works in our experience. First of all, we have to admit the diversity of realities that we have. In the case of Brazil, we have at least 5 biomes. I'm from a place in the northeast of Brazil, which has a biome that we call Caatinga, and it is a very specific biome. And during many, many years in this region of the northeast, historically, we consumed energy, and we had a reality. We had a very water challenge and the sun challenge. It was very strong in our people. And the articulation, the political articulation of the governors in our region allowed us to see that the region of the Northeast went from being a consumer of energy to go to the biggest producer of renewable energy in the country. My state consumes 1.5 giga of energy, and we produce 5. All of it is renewable energy. So we have a huge success from going from a state that only produced to a state that offered. So we have an excess of renewable energy and in the state of Ceará. And I'm also certain that this experience tells us that we need to have proper diagnosis. That is why the state of Ceará, till the end of the year, we finished a report, a study of the effect and production of greenhouse gases effect, to have an effective public policy that can induce the investments and dialogue with the society so that we can reduce and reach neutrality in terms of carbon emissions. So I am sure that this is possible if we have a very strong partnerships between our governments and national government in terms of Brazil. In the case of the northeast of Brazil, we have 9 states, 9 subnational leaderships, and something that was very important that happened in our experience with the constitution of a consortium, in which the subnational governments they unite, they talk about public policies for the region, and they talk with their population, but they also try to interfere in the national policies and the legislative decisions on a national level, and all the energy policy is national in Brazil. So we need to speak with leaders in our region to have this political action for us to have a regulation that is serious, that keeps the climate issue in the mainstream. So that is due to our subnational leadership, our union in this term.
Thank you so much. President Al-Ansari, I'd like to turn to you with the same question.
Bonjour, mesdames, messieurs. Permettez-moi d'abord de...
Gentlemen, good morning. I would like to start by telling you how delighted I am to be taking part in this meeting in Rio on behalf of the Central Morocco region. I want to talk to you about one subject which is of particular interest and which accounts much for our population and for the future and our future together. Please enable me to introduce my region. It's the region of Central Morocco, and we are in a hilly region, which is an agricultural region and full of history, but can help us to go to a sustainable future. Our region is one of the most significant regions in our country, and in my region I would like to talk to you specifically about water. Our region accounts for nearly 1/3 of the national reserves in terms of water, and to preserve this natural wealth with all of the climate change that we are experiencing in our country, we have initiated a number of actions, among which we are working on collecting rainwater through dams which previously were used, or before we created these dams, the rainwater would
les eaux pluviales créer des inondations qui
have rainwater leading to flooding, which was very destructive for the agriculture and sometimes was a threat to the citizens. And we are seeing that this is beginning to bear fruit, and we can ensure that we can use this water during the drought seasons. Secondly, we're also working on demineralizing salt water, and we have processes that enable us to use this water and use it, and for the citizens to be able to use the brackish water. And this is one of the proposals we have been working on. And we are therefore protecting ourselves against flooding to avoid destroying agriculture and protect the spaces. We are also working on a program for reusing wastewater thanks to a collaboration with state and private organizations, and this enables us to use this wastewater for watering parks and avoid wasting water. I also want to tell you that these programs we have other programs to deal with air quality, and in our region we have an air quality station, and this is functional and gives us an idea about the living conditions for our citizens. We have a number of activities, firstly for awareness raising amongst the citizens. We are using media, both the official media, and we also have some programs that link in with the different organizations.
Chairman Tunkara, I'd like to come back to you. You are giving a compelling example of the just transition of attacking climate change while delivering livelihood benefits for your people. Can you say more about how you're protecting livelihoods and creating new economic opportunities as the transition accelerates? And I'll ask you to be very brief.
Yes, thank you very much. As we all know, climate change always affects you either directly or indirectly. We have been trying to improve the living condition of our people. We have been protecting livelihoods by promoting climate-smart agriculture, introducing drought-resistant crops, efficient irrigation, and soil restoration. Farmers have been trained to organic fertilizers by the local NGOs and sustainable practices that boost yields, protecting the environment. And also, it is very, very important that in our capacity as the council, as I always said, we are not, our source of income and the source that we generate is always based on collect tax and rates. On that note, we have also provided so many boreholes, access to water to the rural councils, rural people in our areas, and also help our people to provide markets for them, vendors market where they can at least have their vegetables to sell, and also access to electricity. We have also improved their living condition by providing extension of electricity to other areas in the rural areas, and also providing more boreholes so that they can also have access to clean and drinking water in our community, and also empowering women in their gardening, because we all know women always want to exercise on gardening. So we also embark on them on that so that we can also help them to improve on their living condition. We also make a lot of rehabilitation of roads within the region where we live. So there are so many things that we have been embarked on so that we can also improve the living condition of our people. So thank you very much for that.
Wonderful, thank you very much. Governor Elmano de Freyjas, I'm going to turn to you for the final word in our session. You said a lot about how the Northeast in your state is leading in renewable energy. Can you just say a word about how this can give us hope for speeding up decarbonization?
Bom, primeiro, nós acreditamos muito.
First of all, we believe in the possibility of collaboration nationally, and there's a project that could link the energy mix in Brazil,
Ao mesmo tempo que nós
and at the same
temos no
time,
Brasil toda uma política de saneamento básico.
in Brazil we can see a policy for basic sanitation, and we want to offer this to 100% of our population. And in this way, we're combining this, the improvement of our environment and generating opportunities for employment and income. And this involves the private enterprise sector and dialoguing with society. It's very important that we can combine the change of the energy mix and the life of our society and improve the life of the citizens. So in this way that we can improve the lives of our people. And our position is to recognize that the new economy that we're trying to generate, and we have a responsibility to improve the lives of our population. And the situation with the water, as was mentioned, is always a drama, because the population didn't have potable water for consumption. And now we are making water available. We're making changes so that people can have the reuse of water for industry, so that we have a closed circle, so we use less water. And so these are decisions that are effectively political decisions from the national levels. They need to take it at that level. And we can also highlight that in a country like Brazil, that is a continental country, it is very difficult for us to take measures in a large scale that is nationwide. So we need to participate in these national networks so that we can articulate with them, so that we can communicate with other regions, so that we could be part of a national plan. So that there is subsidies and support and credit for the green environment. So we need to have this and have representation in the National Congress. So for the governors in the Northeast, so that we can have approval as a specific law and the policy for credit for the green economies, because we know that there are other energy mix with a lot of political power that doesn't have a regulatory control. And we need to have a political decision that is more articulated, and so that we can have a new mix
so much, Governor.
For the benefit of society. Thank you very much.
We've really heard here how our speakers are leading on delivering for solutions that are solving climate change, but really putting people at the center, improving people's lives, and growing local economies at the exact same time. So unfortunately, we are out of time, but I'd like to ask for a big round of applause for our speakers. Thank you so much.
Is it working? Okay, brilliant. That's a wrap. We're done for the high-level opening for this morning. We're now going to go into the breakout sessions. So if you make your ways to the door, in breakout room 1, we have powering the critical energy transition. And in breakout room 2, we have the nature and land breakout session. So please do make your way to the breakout sessions, and our colleagues will be there to help guide you to the right room. Thank you, everyone.